During my pre-Airbnb days, I had purchased a home. This was 6 years ago. The home definitely didn't look like this. It didn't look like that. It needed new flooring. It needed a new paint in the exterior and the interior. It needed a new kitchen. I put all my savings, all my credit cards. I maxed them out, and I finally listed the home. But unfortunately, it had, and this was spotted by the home buyer during escrow. She said, "Your home has an encroachment." We'll go next to the pre-Airbnb, how I got started. So a little bit about me. During my pre-Airbnb days, I had purchased a home. This was 6 years ago in El Sereno at about $240,000, and I got it for that low because it was called a 203K loan, where you're allowed to add some of the loan to the construction cost. The home definitely didn't look like this. It didn't look like that. It needed new flooring. It needed a new paint in the exterior and the interior. It needed a new kitchen. Needed a new bathroom. And it needed a retaining wall. So back here, you have a retaining wall. This house is on a hill, and that alone cost, back 6 years ago, about $30,000. And that was the reason why I got it at such a low price. A retaining wall, in this case, is pretty much a part of the foundation of the home. If you don't have it, it collapses. So I put my own money into the home. For the next 2 years, I was going to Home Depot so many times that I said, you know what, I need to just walk through every single aisle and figure out. How many of you have ever done that at Home Depot and just said, I'm going to walk through every single aisle and just find out what is in each aisle, so that I stop walking around everywhere. I was learning the process of home building, of construction, and I put all my savings, all my credit cards, I maxed them out, and I finally listed the home. But unfortunately, it had, and this was spotted by the home buyer during escrow. She said, "Your home has an encroachment." So basically, my home was on my neighbor's property. The actual physical part of the home, of the living space. So I couldn't sell the house. So I had spent every dime I had, couldn't sell the house, and the last house on the block for me was to rent it out. I had to figure it out, and I tried doing the whole, Craigslist thing and getting calls and saying, "Do you accept Section 8? And I'm currently living in my car. Will you please accept me?" And I was like, I don't know anything about screening tenants. I don't know anything about this process. So I said, you know what? I'm going to have to figure out a different way. And I had heard about Airbnbs. I had never stayed in one, but it was gaining in popularity. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to rent out my place. So I checked out the website. I went to Walmart. I bought $700 worth of furnishings, amenities, the coffee maker, pots and pans, and anything that I thought someone would need to stay here short term. And it worked. I got my first booking. It was very scary. I had a camera. I saw them coming in. I saw them coming out. I looked at the place. I said, "Is everything still here? Is everything still intact?" And it was. And it was a big deal for me because I charged them $100 plus another $60 worth of cleaning. So it was $160 that I made that night. And I was basically making money while I slept. I really couldn't sleep that night, but it was, a light bulb went off in my head, and it was a real big turning point. So I have another picture of an RV. And so at this point, I'm like, I'm renting out the house, but I don't have a place to lay my head down. And I was living with who it was my girlfriend at the time, is now my wife, but I was living with her half the time, and I was in an RV. I was in my friend's RV the other half, Tony. And he let me stay there. I think I was giving him like $150 a month or something. So I did this for about 6 months. And I was going to the Pasadena library, and I was reading books, and I was trying to figure out, okay, what's my next step here? And I learned about refinancing. I didn't know what refinancing was. Nobody told me about this. So I can pull out money. My payments remain the same. What's the catch? Well, when you refinance, you're going to have to pay even longer, right? And I'm thinking, well, does that even matter? I have renters in place, so why not refinance, pull money out? So that's what we ended up doing. I refinanced the home. The payments were $2,000. They stayed at $2,000, and then we bought that. Third home, which Holly's going to show you in a second, with a big RV space in Santa Clarita. So that was a big shift for me, because I went from living in Pasadena and El Sereno, where I spent most of my life, then jumping to the Valley, and now in Santa Clarita. That garage is now converted. We converted it into an ADU. We Airbnb'd it as well, and it's paying for the mortgage. It's paying for the mortgage, which is great. So next we have, so where am I now? I have over 150 reviews. That's a bit old there. I have a 4.9 rating. I mean, we live in a society of ratings. So if you go to my Google, if you Google Lopez the real estate guy, my Google reviews pop up there. I have Facebook reviews as well. And I also have these Airbnb reviews. So we're living in that kind of world. The one home, which is the one you see here, the charming Cedar Creek. So I had a friend that said that she wanted to rent out her space, or she was thinking about renting out her space. And I said to her, well, let me help you out. I said, what do you need from me? I'm willing to help you out. I can coach you. I said, I don't expect any type of compensation for it. I can show you how to run your Airbnb, how to put the listing together. And she said, Lopez, can you do it? I said, sure, I can do it, but I'm gonna want to get a bit of compensation for it. So I actually run it for her, and we have a great relationship. All she says is, no dogs allowed. She has this fear of dogs. I'm pretty sure it was from her childhood, but she doesn't want any dogs anywhere near the property, and so we abide by that. And I've been doing it for about 4 years now. These are my goals within hopefully the next 5 years. I'm looking to buy properties in Palm Springs and at Sequoia National Park, and maybe possibly Cabo San Lucas. So these are my plans. They're my long-term plans, and so fingers crossed, with God's help, and it'll be possible.